Okay, it's time to go over the February 2023 eBay Standard Envelope Analysis. Now this is the second one of the year. This one's a little later in the month. It's the 12th of March, but I was running into some no scans and stuff at the end of February, and I wanted to give it some time just to see what came out. So I gave it like an extra week. But I'm going to go over 100 mailings that I did. I picked randomly out of everything that's sold in my eBay store. I just go through and pick some from the top, the middle, randomly pick them, and we'll see the stats here in a minute. Now eBay was 90% of all the scans in 3 of the areas, but they were under 90 in 1 of the areas. And there were 5 no scans. That's the highest it's been since basically a long time, since it first started. Now we're going to walk through the details here in a minute, but I always show this little clip I got. The people that have seen these videos before can skip over it, but this will give you in a nutshell of how it works. It's very high level. It does have Etsy in there because I used to sell on Etsy, but eBay Standard Envelope isn't just for eBay. They named it eBay Standard Envelope, but this tracking method is a barcode service provided by the post office, USPS, and it's used by LetterTrack. Etsy, if you go in and put like 75.25 and pick letter tracking, you can get the same barcode. So it's not just eBay. What they did is they connected their system to the post office, etc., and they branded it as eBay Standard Envelope. So you'll see Etsy on there as well. Well, let me go ahead and go through that little clip there and give you a good idea how it works, and I'll be right back. Here is a slide I'm going to bring up on the big screen. This is just the process in my head on there, not real detailed, layman terms. I don't know how everything works with this. I can speculate from my IT background, my technical background, but there are so many different ways to do it. But in a nutshell, this should explain to anybody how it works. So the first box there is you got eBay and Etsy platform. They're connected across multiple data centers and stuff like that. They're not in the same one. That's why it's got the dotted line there. They're 2 separate companies, 2 separate platforms, 2 separate programs, applications, and stuff like that. They're not shared. But I just put them in a box to make it easier. When someone buys a postcard from either eBay or Etsy, it goes to the post office. The post office then sends data to eBay or Etsy in some way, format, a file, web services, some integration is going to go up and going to come down. Either eBay and Etsy picks it up or directly goes into those platforms if they have shared access. So that's your scans. When it hits the post office, it goes back and forth into the tracking on eBay and Etsy. If everything is successful with the delivery, then you got a happy customer like at the end here. Even though the scans are not happening, most of the time the customer gets the card and they're happy. That's how it works. It just goes back and forth in data. A lot of times the scans may be happening, but eBay's not populating the data on their website. Or the scans don't happen and eBay doesn't have anything to populate. So there's 2 pieces there. And when I used to sell on Etsy, Etsy'd be 100% fine with the scans using the same post office, the USPS, and eBay wasn't. So that come to tell me that eBay wasn't populating data. Then all of a sudden eBay would populate this mass amount of data and you get all the scans. Then there's been times where there's been no scans, missing scans on Etsy and eBay. So it's in both areas. So pointing the finger is kind of hard. But I think over time, I would say it's more on the eBay side than the post office. So far as what I've seen ever since it's been tracked. Now we're going to walk over the details in the graph I got. Won't take too long. Now one of the questions that came up in a comment on YouTube, and this is the first I've heard of it, and I haven't been able to confirm it. I've never been told this. I've never seen it in writing anywhere. Chris was having a problem trying to keep top-rated seller status because of this message I got from him. He said, "It really sucks. I just got dinged for 35 eBay standard envelopes that weren't scanned within 60 hours, as eBay states is the time allowed for tracking validation." The piece there that I've never heard before is within 60 hours, eBay states in the time allowed for tracking value. I've never heard that about any tracking or eBay standard envelope. I have always been told that it doesn't require an acceptance scan like packages, because they can't do it with their carriers, or the counter at the post office cannot do it, only the sorting machines. So it just needs a scan somewhere through the route. So the question is, has anybody out there have heard of the 60 hours time allowed for tracking validation, or have anything in writing that we can confirm that? Just let me know in the comments and we'll see that. But I have never heard that, and I'm trying to confirm it, but I haven't found anybody that has heard it else. Now, when you call eBay, you get agents sometimes that will shoot from the hip and just come up with something. But I'm not for sure if it's valid or not. But that would be interesting. But let's go ahead and go over the stats here. I took 100 random mailings that used eBay standard envelope out of my paid and shipped on eBay for February 2023. And here's the chart. Now, how this is broke down, and you'll see it every month. I do this every month throughout the year, and then I track the year to date. Up at the top, I sort it by state. This column 1. Now, the label is my control. I create the label. That's always going to be 100%. It's going to be 100 labels. I'm the one that does that. So that one is just like a control. Then you have your origin scan, and then you have your destination scan. That means that these are scans you'll see in the tracking. And then you have your out for delivery. I call it delivery to fit in the header here, but it's out for delivery and the delivered. That's the one and most important one. And then at the end, I track how many days average it takes to get to that state. How long did it take there? So let's go down to the bottom there. And this is where it's 100 mailings, makes it easy for me to make a percent. So origin scans, the third column there, 87%. They missed 13% of my origin scans. So they missed 13. So 87%. The next one is destination scan. And this helps people, the buyers, track their items. When scans do not happen or data does not appear in eBay for tracking, we get messages. So this can cause us more work. This is why it's important also, not just possibility of a refund or item not received, it's because we get messages and we have to deal with them. But the destination one is 91%, so they were above that. And you're going to see my threshold where I think if it goes below, that causes more work for us. And you're going to see that in the chart here, another chart in a second. But 91%, they missed 9 destinations. Out for delivery, again, they missed 7. 93% only they got. So they missed 7. And then the all-important delivered scan, they missed 9, 91%. So they were 91% across the board, but 87 on origin scans. And the average mailing time for the post office, and this is why I waited a little bit too. I know John from Popeye Postcards. If you haven't checked him out, check out John Popeye's Postcards. He's got some great stuff on his channel. A lot of detailed stuff about like a 22 video thing about selling postcards. So you want to check his channel out. But he actually did something. I think he put his store like on time away, but you can still buy, and gave him a longer handling time because Baltimore post office was like a black hole. He said things would go in and wouldn't come out for a week, 2 weeks. So he's still wrestling that, and that's why I waited a little bit to do this. But I haven't seen that, and I think Maryland here. I only have one card that went to Maryland, and it was 5 days. I don't know what part of Maryland it went to, but I know he's been wrestling with that deal out there. But that's the stats. Now the red stuff on here is anything where the label, like say California at the top, I had 9 labels created, but I only got 7 origin scans. So any number that's less than the label will get red. And I like that because it tells me if I have a major problem in one of the states. And some of them are having some problems. It's a little above average red on this one. So there is some issues going on. I don't know if it's going to get worse. They're making a lot of changes at the post office, so, and eBay as well. But that's the stats for the month of February. So the average mailing time hasn't went down. You'll see that in a second. Now this is another chart. I track it year to date. Each of the scans have a line here. And if you notice, all the lines are above the dotted line. The dotted line is on 90%. I feel if any scans go under 90%, that's when it triggers the buyers to send messages or causes the sellers more work. So everything is staying above 90%, except the origin scan went down this month. So if those things dip below 90%, expect more conversation with sellers or buyers. That's where I drew the line. And so far, it's been okay. It's just an arbitrary line I found, but I think that's a good line to be there. So we want to be above 90%. They should be 100%. That's always the goal. But 90% is, I drew the line in the sand, and that's it, right there. But that, I'll keep tracking that throughout the year, and we'll see. But origin scan did go down. Now, I also track year-to-date the post office days. They've been, in January, they were 5 days average for all the cards. In February, they're at 5 days. So they're still hitting 5 days, not under their stated thing for first-class mail. So they're still holding steady on their 5 days. Now, one of the things with eBay Standard Envelope a lot of people miss is if you send a postcard eBay Standard Envelope and it's not received or it's damaged, there's insurance for eBay Standard Envelope insurance eBay provides. I think it's a third party, but this video here will walk you through the form and how to track it. You can't put a claim in. If you refund the buyer, have them open a case, keep all the messages in there, and when you can't put a claim into this for after 30 days and before 90 days. And you just need some information, and I walk through this video here. Last year, I've got approximately $70 back that I had to refund because the cards never made it, or people were impatient, didn't wait that few extra days. But I got $70 back. All of my claims got approved, and I had my money in my PayPal in less than 48 hours. They're great people to work with. I walk through this whole video here. So if you're not using that, please take a look at that. That way it helps. So when I ship a postcard, eBay Standard Envelope, for 1 ounce 60 cents, I'm not really worried if I have to refund, because I know in 30 days I can put a claim in and get my money back. What else out there does that? And it's so smooth. And go look at the comments on some of the community tab on the polls. People said it's just easy. So if you're not doing it, please take a look at that. We want people to use this because eBay provides something else eBay provides. We don't want them to take away for non-use. This year so far, January and February, I've had no claims. I've had no envelopes coming back, and the questions from customers have really went down this year so far. I haven't got a lot of the, hey, it shows delivered, I didn't get it. I think I got 1 or 2 of those, and they did show up. But I'm going to walk through this every month and continue to track it in 2023, and just to make sure we see the trend. But eBay Standard Envelope has matured. It's better than what we had with a stamp and a label. We just need to keep an eye on it. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss these monthly videos and everything else I do. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.